All right, Mekone, turn 18. We finished some research in evocation, just level 1, headed on to level 2, maybe discuss that a little in detail more later. Our air mage actually found a site, so that's cool. I think this is just an air gem, but yeah, always useful hanging out and site searching. And then we had some battles. None of these were our attacks. You want to see your flag usually on the left as the attacker. If you have a bunch of defenses, that things, probably aren't going as hot. So yeah, I don't think any of these are actually interesting though. So this is Hinnom, just moving out, taking out some token PD. This is that same force that we saw before. And then Ulm did not consolidate. So they raided out in force, again, just against some token PD. With both of their, two armies, and this was some more substantial PD. Wolf Tribe too, but against an actual army, you can see it's just a waste of gold if it's not supported, and this isn't even that much PD. So yeah, let's take a look on the map, and that'll make a little more sense. So here's Hinnom. Definitely looks like he is going for the option of marching on my capital. A ballsy move for sure. I think we'll be okay, assuming that we can deal with Ulm, because Ulm is split pretty severely. This move I definitely, I don't know. I didn't expect it. So raiding in force like this, this is a lot of units for just a raid. And I don't want to lose access to these blood slaves every turn, but income wise, whatever, we don't have a fort up here, losing this province for a little while, it doesn't really hurt us that much materially. So it's not a super damaging raid, and he's using a lot of forces to accomplish it with. And now, he's in a bit of a dangerous position here, right? Because, these together are pretty scary. Even individually, less so for this northern army. But this by itself is still dangerous. Absolutely. Both of them are still dangerous, but they're a heck of a lot more dangerous combined. Now that they're separate, we have a chance, to defeat, each of these. And so that's what we're aiming at. So we moved out expecting, the combination, hoping that, our PD and Titan and casters and, our Peltast swarms would be enough. And, that was a gamble for sure. But, now that he's split, we have some additional forces in our capital here that we're bringing out. So we just have some of these more lightly armored Helit Peltasts, who normally I don't like recruiting these guys as much because their protection is pretty mediocre. The other Peltasts are, I think, much better because of this high protection. But the protection is going to matter a lot less against these really hard hitting Ulmish troops. They're still going to be able to get through that 17. And it is a lot tougher to mass these guys. You can see these are 29 resources a piece. So you can't recruit as many of them, in one turn, on short notice. So I felt, looks like these guys actually have a shorter spear too, which I did not realize. Yeah, they do. Okay. But anyway, these guys aren't they'll do fine, right? Skills wise, they're, roughly on par with these hoplites. They actually have slightly better defense because they have lighter armor. It's not really gonna matter. But I just need them to soak up and trade a bit with the Ulmish troops, and I don't think these are really gonna trade any much worse than our really heavily armored ones. So I think the additional numbers are gonna help more. That's the theory anyway. So we're bringing them in. So let's see, what do we have? We're bringing a lot of mages too. So we're looking to win. Ideally, we win this handily, right? We don't, because this is only roughly 50% of his forces. Probably less, right? 'Cause surely he's recruiting in his capital, which I don't think we can see because our scouting is abysmal. Trying to push a scout up towards the capital so we can see, part 3 of this, 2-part, attack, what might become a 3-part attack. So yeah, I mean, he probably has more stuff coming in, but even if he doesn't, right, this is only 50% of his forces. So we really, and then there's this too, which less worried about, from Hinnom, but yeah, like, we can't really afford to have a Pyrrhic victory here. So we're bringing a lot of mages out, and our research is not good. I was wondering, looking back at this, I'm like, why am I not, doing summon Earth power? We don't have any conjuration research yet. So, like, these guys are just Earth 2, so they're just barely going to be able to get off these Earth melds. The fatigue cost is 60. So, probably not even going to get through this script. It's just not ideal. Particularly because they're going to stack up some fatigue, from buffing themselves ahead of time, like especially this guy. But I don't want to lose these mages. I don't have a lot of mages. And Earthmeld doesn't have a very good range, right? So, and he's been, holding and attacking. So honestly, even this first Earthmeld, right, it's like he's going to spend 2 turns holding. We're not fully forward positioned, which maybe was a mistake. I forget, does this army have archers in it? No, not really. So we don't really have to worry too much about archer fire. So yeah, maybe should have fully forward positioned this. I do want the Titan to make contact, and she is so slow. So, pushing these guys back a little bit makes it a little more likely that, she's going to get in and tangled up with his forces and not poison the ever-loving crap out of my own guys. So, we'll see. I didn't really do a lot of testing with this, so I'm not sure if this setup is going to work very well. But yes, the idea is have these guys back a little bit so the really slow Titan can, waddle her way up, or, hopefully make contact at roughly the same time or not too far behind. But, having these mages back positioned a little bit means that, for these short range spells, it's going to be tough. Honestly, maybe you just should have set this to attack, because what you can do is you can just issue an attack order for 1 turn. Let's see, attack 1 turn. So you can just put that into the script, and so they'll just move forward and try to melee for like 1 round. And then, they'll return to their script, assuming they don't actually get in a melee, and get interrupted. So it's dangerous, just be throwing attacks in for your dudes in robes, even if they are, giants and have a lot of hit points. But, it is a way to make sure, because if you have a spell that doesn't have a valid target in range, then the AI will just helpfully replace it for you. Because, I mean, like, what are they going to do, really, right? It's like, they can't cast that spell, so they cast something else instead, which varies in usefulness. So there's a good chance that, he's going to throw on an extra buff and then, like, really put him to sleep with this Earth Meld. So, could have attacked, would have been a little more risky. This stuff is here, the stone skin and the fire shield is here to help keep them alive. If things start to go badly, the fire shield especially, is going to deal some additional damage to their attackers. So yeah, might turn the battle around, if it's close. Hopefully that's not how it goes. Earthmeld, of course, is just going to, mess up his formation as they come in, hopefully spread his guys out so that, we get to piecemeal his forces. And it's really like one of the few useful like offensive spells that we can really cast right now with the research that we have. Because speaking of research, so let's talk a little bit about evocation. We also don't really have a ton of guys. Let's see. Our polemarchs could be doing some more useful evocation. Evocation tends to be a bit more useful for like fire. And most of our E4s, maybe all of our E4s. Oh, we had one that randomed air, which is cool. But yeah, none of them, they can random fire too, and they just haven't. So we're kind of more focused around, Earth, although, again, our polemarchs, do have 2 fire, so, they could do some useful evocation casting, but evocation 1... Fireflies is truly awful, so it's nice that, they'll be doing like fire darts instead, which is not great, right? It's like, number of effects 3 or, increased by 1 for every extra level. I think it's just 1. So yeah, so we'll get 4 darts off of our polemarchs if they choose to cast that. The range is not great, but, can be boosted a bit, so not awful. And the damage is, yeah, and then fatigue, or the precision is so-so. Anyway, like, it's better than fireflies, but Evocation 1 is not exactly a powerhouse. Flame Bolt is okay, but again, area of effect is one person, so like not even the whole square, right? It's just going to hit one guy, out of possibly like 3 human-sized, well, since we're fighting Ulm, definitely 3 human-sized guys, and that's not really going to turn the tide of the battle. I mean, this does do a lot of damage. This is much better against like elites and has a long range, although low precision. Well, I mean, I actually don't know like what the breakdown for precision is. Like, is how bad is 0 the best? Is 10 the best? I don't actually know, but I can tell you from experience, Flame Bolt at long range, like at range 45, is not going to hit much. At least nothing useful generally. So anyway, but better against elites, not so good, against like this, 80 almost troops. Now, once we get up to 2, which is what we're aimed at, it gets a little better, not much better. We can, with a little bit of work, we have one guy who can cast Sulfur Haze, which is kind of cool. It does a little bit of poison damage in addition to fire damage, and it's armor negating, and it just like hangs around, fairly big area of effect. And with a little work, we also get access to Flare. We don't actually have Phoenix power, because that's in Conjuration, but we can use a gem to get up to this. The area of effect is 1 square, so that's much nicer. It's a lot of damage. Again, good range, better or worse precision? I think, I don't know, different precision. Still not great at range, and similar kind of, heat fatigue area effect. So that'll be nice. Like, this is definitely better against Ulm's force composition. Well, we'll also get access to Fire Blast, which is pretty good, but it's has really low range and can be kind of difficult to get your casters to actually pull off, because a lot of times by the time they're in range, somebody's in their face meleeing them, and then they're just not going to cast it. It's also kind of dangerous to the caster if they don't have, some fire resistance or protection, and also possibly dangerous to our own troops. But we are lucky in the sense that, let's see, the polemarchs are better at casting those kind of point-blank evocations because they have combat caster. And so they're just good at casting spells in melee. So let's see, 50% chance... Yeah, you're trying to cast a spell in melee. Okay. And I don't know what it is normally, right? So they have a 50% chance to try to cast a spell if they're in melee. Maybe it's 0 normally. And then the chance of being interrupted by damage is halved. And I don't actually know what the chance is normally to be interrupted, but normally if you're trying to cast a spell and you take damage, it seems like it's pretty likely, just gut feel from when I've seen it happen. Generally, if you take damage, probably this spell is gonna be canceled, more likely than not. And they also take a lot less fatigue from spellcasting due to armor. So yeah, anyway, this is really, really useful, really cool. These polemarchs are just really cool. I didn't really support them well enough with the bless that I have. Like, definitely looking back on this game, I would probably change. I'm sure there's plenty of ways that you can play Mekone, but I think these guys are really cool. I would love to do a playthrough like where I'm really focused on getting maximum value out of these guys. But anyway, so they're more likely to be able to pull off something point blank, kind of like Fire Blast. So anyway, that's kind of what we're looking at. The rest of the stuff we can't really cast. Fireball level 3 maybe. So we're switching back to alteration after so we're just doing bare minimum, a little bit of evocation research. Probably should have stuck with evocation. Fireball is a significant improvement. It has like longer range. The damage is really good. Fatigue is not too bad. Area of effect is 1 whole square. Fireball is kind of like the classic like low level fire evocation. And then I don't think we really pick up too much. We'll get magma bolts, which are pretty good. They're kind of like flame darts, right? Fire darts. So basically the same kind of spell, only magma bolts just deal a lot more damage, and it's like blunt damage. So if they're really going heavy on like some fire resistance, you can hit them with magma bolts. It does set them on fire. you can. I don't know if this is guaranteed, but anyway, yeah. So it's a good spell, but again, like more kind of anti-elite, because there's not a ton of effects. You're not going to be killing like masses, of cheap hordes with magma bolts. So yeah, really like Fireball would have been good. Once we start to get up to like 4 and 5, like then we start to get, really into the area of effect. Like Fire Cloud is pretty good against masses. Falling Fires would be nice. But they're also Fire 3, so we're going to struggle to cast those until we get more Conjuration research. And like realistically, the war is probably going to be over by the time we hit like level 4, level 5, like Evocation. So arguably we could go to 3, so we're switching back to Alteration, which again, is really going to help. We've talked about, why, and it's going to help the polo marks, from a thug standpoint. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. So anyway, that's a bunch more discussion about research, and then yeah, I think we've talked about the plan here. Is anything we missed? I don't think so. Some flaming arrows would be nice, but we don't have the research for that either. We are trying to do a little bit of raiding over here, just kind of following in the wake of this army. He could be doing some nth level stuff where he doubles back, to catch raiders. It is possible, but it's I think this is probably a pretty safe raid. Obviously I don't want to raid into here because lost to that level of PD and the situation hasn't changed yet. I'm hoping he doesn't have the gold to PD dump here. We're just using our single polo mark, and he's throwing a fire shield on himself now, which should help. So maybe he could take this PD, but yeah, also a little concerned about bumping with Marverni, and I really want to keep this route. This route needs to be open, like long term. Like we absolutely need to have this connection between our forts, because like up here, like this is a mountain pass, and I don't actually know the difference between the red and the orange. It's probably like a different level of heat that the pass opens at, and we do have heat dominions, so probably this will remain open most of the time, but yeah, just a little bit concerned. Also, like moving through like highlands, I think are one of, if not the most intensive provinces in terms of movement points to move through, so it's very slow. I mean, not that moving through 2 forests is fast, but moving through highlands and then a forest is even slower, and then this is also mountains, although I don't think the mountains actually matter for movement, but highlands definitely do. So anyway, really want to keep this open. I mean, it would be nice to raid this, right? Would like to connect our territory up here. But I mean, we don't have a lot, right? Like, this is the 2v1 kicking in, and we really need to siege down Hinnom and make sure that he doesn't break out. And so yeah, we've got our one raider, and he's gonna go out and try and raid. And then let's see. Yeah, these guys are trying to escape. We'll see. I mean, it's 50-50 shot. Well, I guess he could move back into here. Who knows? But probably like 50-50 shot that they'll live. I don't know how much he cares about catching these guys. He may be, more worried about like trying to trace, right, keep Calum out from like, vulturing territory. So he may be more interested in painting his flag on the borders. So yeah, we'll see how this goes. Hopefully, we crush this Almish force and we're able to, get back and defend our capital in time from Hinnom coming in. But yeah, I think that covers turn 18. And just real quickly, should cover events. So, yep, we declared war, which happens every year for Mekone. So all your forts, we only have the one right now, our capital. So additional unrest. This is the good version of the event. If you don't have an E4, you get even more unrest. And, you don't get any reduction. And anyway, yeah, it's bad news. And then, just a little bit of turmoil. This is probably from our turmoil scales, or, who knows, just random events. And a few earth gems, which is cool. 5, not a ton, but not bad. And then also we had a double elimination this turn, so this is sort of not relevant to us. I don't really know where Lanka is really at all, or who ate them. But Baratos was the one who was getting attacked by TNN, who we do border. So that is definitely relevant to us. I don't know it now, but I think Baratos is somewhere down here. So yeah, so that's was not good for us. Like this, the biggest monster we could find was not big enough for Baratos. Baratos, I feel like, is a very common rush target. They're pretty strong blood power, is my understanding, although I haven't really seen it yet myself. But apparently in the late game, I mean, any blood power can be quite strong, although I think Baratos has some additional national blood spells, which are pretty good. But of course, it takes some time to get that going. So it makes sense that, he went with the biggest monster he could find, probably knowing that, he would be facing an early attack. But it looks like it wasn't enough. So yeah, goodbye Baratos. All right, Mekone, turn 19, finished some research and evocation, which we've discussed. Yomi looks like they're declaring a prophet, and then we had some battles. So this was us trying to destroy that Almash force, and we did not. He moved out. We did lose some stuff, and it looks like he actually left behind a decent amount of PD. We don't need to watch this in all of its length, but yeah, I think this is more than 6. So I'm not really sure what the thinking was there. Maybe he thought I would just, try to use a small raiding group, maybe a lone polemarch. This maybe could have been problematic. These Wolf Tribe would struggle a bit with their low damage daggers to get through really high protection. But yeah, probably just looking to catch some raiders. But anyway, yeah, so we destroy that unsupported PD. We do lose a few guys, probably like Poison Cloud or something like that, or just, it's enough Wolf Tribe. Peltasks aren't that good. We have a few retreats, not too many, thankfully. Looks like just a couple of them. So yeah, not too many losses. That's good, but we also didn't, catch his army, which is bad. And then let's see here. This was this. Yeah, so this is Hinam's army marching on towards our capital. He did not double back, and so yeah, he wipes out this PD without too much trouble. In fact, without any trouble at all. So minimal PD. It's not going to stop an army. And then I believe this was our raider. Attacking out, yeah, our Polemarch, who's unsupported, unblessed, minimal gear. The blessed sucks anyway for them, so we'll see. This is less PD than before, and he has a fire shield now, so fingers crossed. You see, I think that was the militia, one of the militia going down to a fire shield. That's definitely some fire shield damage, and the militia has now been routed. Fire shield is much better against units that have short length attacks, like a hoof or something like that, length 0, better against these guys, broadsword only length 1. Anybody that has to get in close to press home their attacks is more likely to get hit by fire shield and maybe takes more damage. I know it's worse. If you have something like a spear, or anything like that, like long weapons, then, fire shield is less of a problem. So anyway, it's looking good here. I think he can handle these archers as long as he doesn't run away. The giant commander, bit of a wild card, but yep, he's a hero now. So fatigue, still not great. Haven't fixed that yet. Haven't managed to get him to a lab to replace any gear. I haven't really forged any other gear. But anyway, he did manage to finish this one while remaining awake. So that's good news. Let's see here. Yeah, so this is probably 6 PD, maybe a little less. So yeah, and then let's see, we had one more battle. Yeah, we got attacked by Hinam. And this is just a very budget raid. It's got unsupported, no gems, probably not a lot of research. Yeah, he's probably just going to buff himself up and then attack maybe? No, just flying shards. Which, maybe could work, because certainly against just 1 PD, this probably could have worked. I think we've got 6 in here. And yeah, this is a pretty tall order for this guy. He's got a quarterstaff. He does deal a lot of damage, but his skills just are not good, right? He's not good at melee. And his protection is good, right, because of the stone skin. But he's fatigued out from his spellcasting. So we're more likely to get criticals. He's not really fighting back. He's not casting any spells anymore. Yeah. Even militia can handle that situation. So 6 PD, it does help. And then let's see, we massacred some of our population, of course. Got to keep the helots in line, and that reduces unrest, so that's good. Strict order of tyranny restored. And then let's see, and we found this is a lot of fire gems. So yeah, this definitely feels like it's been altered by luck. Let's take a quick look. Are we lucky in the? Oh yeah, full luck. A lot of times for those, if you're running some misfortune and you get a good event, or like neutral scales, you see like, oh, we got like 3 fire gems, which don't get me wrong, it's always nice to get some gems, but much nicer to see 11. So that definitely feels like some luck kicking in to me. And oh, these walls. So they're severely damaged. I think there's one more level, like critically damaged. So it's not great that we're seeing severely again. Yeah, I mean, this is just really good fort. 750 wall integrity in the early age. Like, yeah, this giant castle is really good. I didn't really calculate this, in when I was attacking Hinnom, but that's definitely something to consider for your early wars, because this is taking a really long time, and you don't want, your army to be tied up for we have other problems. We have other things our army could be doing. So anyway, and like, yeah, I wish our forts were that good. We have wall integrity 300. I guess, when you're the glorious Spartan, giant hoplites, you're not supposed to hide behind your walls. You hide behind your PD instead. So anyway, Ulm does have more. It was not just a 2-parter, and so yeah, these some reinforcements. He's also still recruiting up here. Not as worried about these warriors, but this is like more sacreds and these iron warriors, who have the maul and are hard hitting. So like, yeah, to see 60 more of these guys as reinforcement, oh, that's not good. So yeah, he didn't really attack at all. Yeah, he didn't attack at all this turn. So it looks like he's setting up, probably again to combine, onto this province. I would expect. Like, this to me looks like a capital, right? Like, surely he's coming for the capital now. This is a capital killing force right here. So we are sending somebody out. We have somebody who is just feeble-minded and completely useless due to this disease that just wandered out. He's going to die next turn. I don't know why I moved him out, but, here you go. Have that E4. And so we're taking our actual force and we're returning to our capital because it looks like next turn we're going to get hit, by this Hinnom force. Now, our PD might be able to handle it unsupported, and certainly we could just send back like a couple mages to support the PD, and we'd probably win like pretty handily, and then of course the PD replenishes. So like, maybe like could have taken this force and like tried to hold this, because it does hurt to lose this investment, but this isn't very good PD. And now that with all these reinforcements and everything, I'm thinking like, let's just take the battle like on the capital, right, where we can have some really good PD, really strong, a lot of it. I've boosted this more. This is definitely painful, spending all this gold. Probably questionable use, certainly not an ideal use of gold. And to that end, speaking of non-ideal uses of things, we're doing alchemical transmutation, and this, I don't think I've done this before, certainly not streaming, maybe not ever, but you can turn gems into gold directly with some spells. I think it's all alteration, though don't quote me on that. So there's fire and earth seem to be the ones that you can do it with. So you've got distill gold. It costs, you chew up 1 fire gem to just cast the spell, so you get no gold from that, but then after that, every additional, fire gem that you dump in is going to be 15 gold. And then I think there's a more powerful version later. I forget exactly, maybe 5? Yeah, transmute fire. Yeah, you get more gold per gem. And this one, you get a bonus if your mage is, more powerful in fire magic. But, we don't have the research for that yet. And we're doing the earth one, of which I think there's also a more powerful earth one, maybe. Not sure. Hopefully we don't actually need to find out. Because, obviously, I don't know. People, a lot of people joke that, like, fire gems are not very useful. Like, turning them into gold is probably the best use you could get. I'm not totally sold on that. Personally, I would rather use gems for other things than just getting gold, but especially early on, when we're using earth gems, right? So this is the alchemical transmutation, which is what we're actually casting. This one also is increased for additional mage levels. You get less gold, so it's, well, hang on. I think it's just less, period. Yeah, so it's better to do fire gems, roughly speaking, if you're trying to get gold from gems. But we don't. We have some fire gems, but I think we had more earth gems. So I'm burning earth gems. I'm doing it with like absolute low-level caster. All of our higher level casters are busy, and I mean, they're not much. They're just one more higher, so I don't know, whatever. Not also, it's not ideal, burning all this gold, but we're not getting a ton of income right now, and we don't really have any way to actually turn earth gems into combat power right now. Maybe forging gear to a limited extent, but our Polo Mark thugging has been, underwhelming, and like certainly isn't going to help us against this giant Olmish army. So yeah, going, turning some gems into some gold. We'll see, how useful that is. Still forging some gear, with other gems that we have left. So yeah. So anyway, plan is, this force has not changed, right? More or less looks the same. There's some militia here. Ignore that. They're going to stay inside the walls. And then, we're just going to combine with our PD and then hopefully like completely smash this with no losses. Assuming it is going for the capital, it is possible that he like turns south, and tries to go after Marverni, or turns north to just raid. But, just the path that he's been taking, it definitely feels like he's headed for the capital. So yeah, I don't think we're going to have any trouble with this. Like I said, this is probably overkill. But I don't really feel comfortable taking this fight out here. So we might as well just, absolutely win this battle, unquestioned. And then, yeah, continuing to siege. And now we're moving up to raid this. Yeah. I don't know, maybe, could have, still worried that, like, you never know, he could double back. There's the possibility that we bump, this was originally Marverni's province. We really do want this because it's got lizard shamans. But, Marverni could attack out into it. He's got a pretty strong force here. Like, that is his province. I'm hoping to negotiate with him, either buy it off him or do some kind of trade. Because this is like really valuable for me, and it's not as valuable for Marverni. Marverni does have native nature and astral access, so it's less critical that he has access to lizard shamans. Although they're good mages, so I think anybody is open to having some. But anyway, a little worried that we would bump here. So and we do need to grab this stuff as well. Because I think it is Calum probably that's bordering to the north. I don't actually remember offhand, who has a nap with Hinnom. But like the longer you take to clean these up, also, it's Kailasa may be here as well. Anyway, leaving these, in Hinnom's hand just means that the vulture is going to grab them. So, we can definitely take this wolf tribe. This will be a nice province for us to pick up, assuming we get Hinnom, which we're counting on. And then, we can continue to raid around in a loop here, and he hopefully doesn't have, a ton of PD up here. So we'll find out. And then this group survived, so that's good. They're just continuing to run away, and probably, I don't know where they're just going to keep running away. They can't actually make it to the capital yet. We'll have to put them on hold. They maybe go, I don't know. If Ulm takes this, then I guess they'll move out here and then hopefully live in Hinnom after we've taken it. So, if that... Yeah, hopefully that's how that works out for that group. We're not doing any recruitment this turn at all. I think, yeah, no recruitment whatsoever. And that is, this 37 PD. In fact, here we can see like how much gold does this cost? A lot. So it's 334 to just go from 27, it starts at 25, the capital PD. I bumped it a little bit already, but you can see that it's like, to bump it up to 37. That's pretty hefty. However, like that's, maybe about like double the amount of Gigante hoplites. Plus, when we get a bunch of, like, you can see like the pelt, I don't know how many peltas this is, but this is a lot more. And that's good. Like, again, Ulm doesn't love projectile fire. So like, are these peltas great? No. But, are they going to deal damage? Yes. And these hoplites will trade okay as well. So Yeah, I don't know. This is stronger than what we would have been able to recruit, right, in terms of like mobile forces. But of course, this PD isn't going anywhere. So it's only going to help us if he jumps on the capital. But I think we're going to need some help. So yeah, it always hurts, anytime you're not recruiting, especially out of your capital for mages and everything, like that's a pretty big loss. You may only get like 60 or 70 of those, turns. So, or less if the game is short. In a game this big, probably going to get like 60 or 70 turns. But anytime you're missing recruitment out of your capital, that hurts. That's a sad day. So yeah, not going great, but we're still alive. I think we can take Hinnom. We should be able to destroy this. And then if Ulm would just, come play, we can hopefully destroy what he's rocking. I don't know. We'll see. And then, we're going to try to see like what else he has in store headed our way. Ulm definitely has to worry as well. He has neighbors. Like, his forces are kind of not a super long way from home, but out of position if, his northern neighbor decides to attack, or like Niflheim decides that he wants a piece of him. So, anytime that you're fighting a war, you want your wars to be fast and painless. So, almost got like, we've been doing this dance for a few turns, and like he hasn't really dealt that much damage to me yet. Certainly like this hurt losing this income. So he's taken 4 provinces. But a lot of these these were fairly high income, but like these ones not so much. So we are starting to hurt a bit on the income. It's not great. But he has been slow in terms of like actually, putting us under really serious pressure, which, I think may come back to bite him. Anytime you're fighting a war, you're on a clock. So yeah, I think that covers turn 19. All right, Mekone, turn 20. We had a throne claim this turn. I think this is Atlantis, who is apparently not afraid of a little misfortune in the name of, I think you get astral pearls off of this throne. Regardless, that's cool that they got a claim. Still relatively early for a claim, so nicely done. We turned 18 earth gems into 180 gold, which is not a great deal, but we are a bit on the desperate side. And then, the reason we're on the desperate side is right here, the long-awaited combination. This is our PD dump that is unsupported. I think we have this guy who is about to die anyway. And let's take a look at. I don't think this Ulmish force has existed in a combined form. So we've seen all these elements. He's got a decent amount of archers. For whatever reason, he's got some guys holding, some guys going in right away. Kind of just a mix of everything. Mostly his sacreds and these iron warriors with their mauls that hit really hard. He has a decent number of these. This is a forest warrior, of which he has a few. They just have better armor. But he has quite a few of these just regular warriors as well, who are not bad. They've got decent protection. This has been boosted, I think, by Legions of Steel. And 2 high damaging attacks. These are the non-axe throwing variety, which may be better. You can definitely kill your own guys as Ulm with the axe throwing. The precision seems to just be truly miserable. Although he does have some archers coming in, who are mostly dealing damage to my guys, but no doubt. I guess he has a few axe throwers in there. So a few axes coming out. But anyway, yeah. And then his god is just hanging back. Basically fatigued out. Looks like was probably doing some support casting. Maybe that's where the Legions of Steel came from. Yeah, looks like it. In fact, that might be his only caster. So yeah, still pretty light in terms of mage support. In fact, maybe even less than what we saw before, because I'm pretty sure he had like a hero out here and like one other caster. But yeah, those guys aren't here anymore. So pretty light support for this army in terms of mages. But, yeah. This is scary stuff. You may not need any mage support. It's early on. There's not, research hasn't gotten along too far, unless you're really focusing on it. So it's not always useful to bring out a bunch of mages. So he took a few losses, no big deal. He's got like, 200 troops, and like, yeah, this is scary stuff. This is why we're burning earth gems for 180 gold, and yeah, and no problem with our PD dump. Speaking of gold, that's sad, but yeah, I don't know. I don't. Maybe we could have won that, maybe not, but it would have been ugly even if we'd won. And so this is our Polomark raiding out and continuing expansion. In the second year. So this is Wolf Tribe. He shouldn't have any problems with this. This guy has some nature gems, which is a little concerning. He could be a bit of a problem, maybe. More of a problem if you're relying on defense. So he does his stun skin and his fire shield, and he goes in. Okay, he's casting some panic, which I think he needs a gem for. Yeah, because it's a nature 2 spell. Actually, looks like he missed, so that's good. Yeah, our morale is not the best, so that's actually a little concerning. But you only get the 2 casts, which he did, one of which he missed with. So I think we're gonna be fine. And then yeah, fire shield is pretty good against these dagger guys, because I think length 0. So yeah, fire shield really is gonna make a big difference. And short bows against protection 27. Nah, that's never gonna happen. So yeah, and there's that Tangle Vines, but he missed. Ain't that always the way? Mages of Dominions everywhere, screwing over their own forces. So yeah, he's able to handle this without too much trouble. Polomarks. And then we got attacked by Hinnom. Let's see, this, I'm not sure what this is. Some sort of raid, or maybe he moved. Yeah, a raid. This is a real budget raid here. So yeah, and he actually bumped into these are guys that are just trying to run away, who just have a few Bone Tribe with them. I think our PD would have been able to handle this. No surprises there. 2 Lizard Warriors in his commander. I don't know how this commander convinced these Lizard Warriors that this was a good idea, but there you have it. And then a battle in Mekone. So this must have been his main army. Which, yeah, there's not too much left, which is why I was a little surprised that he sent it at my capital. I mean, this is not going to be enough to deal with the army that I have sat on top of his capital, but I guess he just must not have like a lot of casters inside of his capital. I was thinking this is enough that if he combined it with like something in his capital, could be a problem potentially. But anyway. Yeah, maybe he just doesn't have anything. But anyway, so this is, we've talked about this plan. This is, mostly for Ulm, but it should work fine here. Our PD, of course, is just going to go right on in. That's always what they do. We're just getting, I think, personal regeneration. Yeah, now she starts to go in so slowly. You can see why. And then these are our actual like recruits who are stationed as far away from this poison cloud as possible. Yep, there she goes. She's gonna poison some guys. This little earth meld, all sorts of javelins, all the javelins. Our Polomark's coming in. I think that's his smite. A few flying shards. I think he has like 1 earth caster. Yeah, who's really far back positioned. Which is going to hurt for the precision. And then, a little more earth meld coming out. We're pretty far back positioned as well, as I discussed. Our Titan not really making contact, just poisoning people. I think she is as far positioned, as far forward as possible. Could switch up her gear, right? A lot of this combat speed. I mean, she's slow to begin with, but, with the full steel plate and everything, that really makes her extremely slow. So maybe should switch up the gear. We're actually finally getting a little bit of advantage from our Bless. A few of these Polomarks have activated Blood Surge, which is nice. You can see, this guy, he's got the that blessing on him that only lasts for the year, so, his skills are pretty darn good. But even the guys, he's getting boosted a little bit by this item, but decent attack, defense, protection, these are solid. But, not going to be able to take on armies by themselves for sure. And they will definitely go down to the Ulmish troops. But, we badly outnumber Hinnom here. And unfortunately, I don't know which of these are PD Peltas, which are ours. Some of them might be ours. You can see, just, a couple guys dying to poison. Definitely hard to combine with this Titan. She's probably better as a solo operator. That went well. We lost, just 4 actual units, all helix. Don't really care about that. PD losses were higher, but that's okay. That's what it's there for. It just replenishes, and we pretty much wiped everything out. So that is more or less the end of Hinnom, I would say, as a threat to us. It's just a question of what does he have in his capital, and will our army, without really any mage support, be able to take it? And to that end, we finally breached the gates. So we will be able to answer this question about whether or not we can take the capital next turn. And I think that we caught one other. So the vultures are coming in. This is Kailasa. This is a substantial. This is a scary vulture. A lot of sacreds. And these guys are not bad. They really suffer lack of protection, but they have built-in awe, which is cool, and like their skills are solid, and they have 2 attacks, which is nice. Size 3, so their attack density still isn't like amazing or anything, but with the right bless, they're gonna have no trouble with this. Okay, so we had a divine blessing. This guy is a prophet. Yep, cool. What do we got on this bless? Looks rainbowy. So he's got some resistances. Yeah, pretty good resistances. No cold resistance, so that's a hole. Not really one that we can take too much advantage of. But the consideration always. A little bit of defense skill. That's where that cold resistance went, because defense skill is water, as is cold resistance. So that's cool. They already have like pretty solid defense. Yeah, so now that's been boosted by the bless, like defense 17. That's nothing to sneeze at. It's not elf level, but definitely will matter. There'll definitely be units, even potentially our units could struggle a bit against that. Giants, we don't bring a lot of numbers necessarily. Now we have the advantage of having access to the Helit Peltasts and the Helit Hoplites, to create a lot of attacks to drive defense down. So we'll probably be okay. But defense skill 17 is definitely enough that it could trip, some units up, no question. Some reinvigoration, which is nice. Also potentially for some thugs. I think Kailasa gets some decent thug chassis later. But it's never a bad thing to have a little reinvigoration on your sacreds either. Your troops, that is. A little bit of magic resistance, also probably better on thugs, but never a bad thing. Undying 10, which is quite a bit. So that's high death. So more hit points. Kind of. So this is like 10 additional hit points. If the unit dies, they have like 10 additional hit points, and they can go down to -10. And then when the battle finishes, they die, right? So they only stay around for the battle. Assuming they don't go down to -11 or lower. Then they do die. So this is a significant boost, and they already have decent hit points, right? So this is roughly kind of like having 33 hit points. Not exactly, like Undying doesn't help for regeneration purposes, right? So I think if you had like 33 actual hit points, you'd regenerate like 3 hit points a turn at 10% regen, which is usually what you're getting. Whereas with this pseudo 10 extra hit points, you only regenerate 2 a turn. Not a big deal. He may want the death for just access, and has other plans for it. And death is probably one of the weaker, maybe weakest bless paths. So extra hit points on these guys, pseudo hit points, is nice. If you do, one of the cool things, I believe if you regenerate out of your undying state, the unit survives the combat at the end of combat. So if you go down, to -5 or whatever, and you have regeneration on these guys, and they regenerate back up to above 0, then you'll get to keep them. Undying can be pretty cool. And then let's see what else we got. Some strength, more damage, never bad. A little bit of magic leadership. Maybe just some like leftover astral points. Some of that went into the magic resistance. Leftover astral like bless points, that is. And I don't know how much like magic being summoning Kailasa has access to, possibly quite a bit. But anyway, all of his sacred commanders can command 10 additional magic beings, which can be really useful if you are doing like a lot of magic being summonings, which a lot of times there's a lot of magic beings out there that probably aren't worth it, but yeah, anyway, these guys have no trouble with that PD, and I believe that was the fort, the palisades that Hinnom had put up. And then we finish off with our, slaughtering, and we get one of our giant assassins, which is cool. And then let's see, this is, get some additional PD, which could definitely be relevant. And I think that covers events. Yeah, we talked about the breach. So yeah, let's take a look. Here's the combination with 250. That's a bit of an exaggeration, scouts, but still, like about 200 units. And we're patrolling with pretty much everything. I mean, we just saw more or less what we're going to be bringing to the field. I think we added a few things, like this guy who we just had, and just like screw it, let's bring him out. We don't have a lot of research. Astral ones can do some body ethereal spam and some luck spam with higher research, which we don't have. And Cheat Fate is just like the AoE, 1 square of Twist Fate. So the first successful attack against those units will, be negated, which is nice. It's better if you have, really high defense. Like this is really good on elves, less good on giants and really heavy armor whose defense skill is not great anyway and are going to be getting hit a lot. So honestly, like, maybe we should have just had this guy researching, because we have 9 research right now. Pretty much everybody is patrolling. Or I think there's a little bit of gear forging going on. I will say that all of our polemarchs are just set to, go in as thugs, which, like, all right, this guy, with all of his gear, he's got a luck pendant that we made him, so that's cool. Luck that we can't give him via spell, we gave to him via item. And his really good attack and defense, and his protection is going to be good, and hopefully getting some repels. Like, yeah, all right, maybe sending this guy into melee is not the worst idea. And these guys that are better geared, and aren't gonna fall asleep, like, okay, maybe, but like, especially this guy that's just ungeared, I'm not taking advantage of that evocation research that I did, so that was probably a mistake and or oversight. But here we are. They're good thugs. We're gonna send them in against 200 Almost troops. What could possibly go wrong? And then we got a Chimera. So this is one of the monster summonings that our Pretender generates. In addition to this Eden, who we're just leaving at home because he's undisciplined. Like, his skills are okay. He hits people with the club real hard. These guys I find just like tend to die. He's super ambidextrous, but he only has 1 weapon. So yeah. Anyway. We're leaving him at home. He's probably like decent siege defense. Yeah, I mean, not that 1 Eden is going to make the difference, but anyway, we're leaving the Eden at home. He's also from the monster summoning. The Chimera is a bit better. He's got this Dragonfire, which is like an AoE. Yeah, it's like a beam. I'm not sure, how wide it is, but if I recall, it can be bad. it could definitely chew up some, more lightly protected Almost troops. Probably not so much for his Sacreds or those, Iron Warriors with their mauls. But anyway, he has a chance at actually dealing some damage. And, good hit points and everything. Like, his protection is kind of low. He's not undisciplined, which is nice. He is flying. He's in a squad by himself, which is rough for morale. Maybe should have combined him with something. I don't know what we would have combined him with, but anyway, he's gonna try to just hold and then attack the rear. So yeah, hopefully burn up some of those archers. Might get ambushed by the god. If he tangles with Olm's Pretender, and Olm has been leaving his Pretender back to just cast spells, that'll be bad. He'll probably just die pretty quick. But, we'll see. At minimum, he should keep the archers busy, for a few rounds, which is good because a lot of our combat power is peltasts, who don't have almost no protection and they don't love arrow fire. So, it'd be good if his archers spend less time shooting at, very vulnerable peltasts. So, hey, throwing in some monsters. And then, yeah, we've talked about all the rest of the plan that all holds. We have dumped the gold that we did get. I think all of it. Yeah, because this is more than 180. You can see you're not making a lot of gold right now. And we're not actually even making, again, because of the way the unrest works and everything, we're not even making what it looks like. So yeah, we're not making a lot of gold. We took what gold we had and we just threw it into even more PD. So we have an army here. It's mostly just PD. Yeah, we can't really attack out into this anymore, which is not a good situation. Eventually he is going to need to jump on my capital, or someone else will, or someone will jump him, while his force is just sitting here. So I'm expecting a battle here next turn. But, if he doesn't attack, we're kind of, I've spent a ton of money on the assumption that he's going to attack. And if he doesn't, that's problematic because, we can't, what we have is pretty much just, 100 peltasts. 100 peltasts are not going to be able to push off, 200 of his troops, even with mage support at the research that we have right now. So we'll pretty much just be stuck waiting for our army to get back. But our army is storming, so it's going to take a while for them to get back. So if he does decide to hang out, we will eventually get our army back. And between this and our peltasts and our god and some casters, and I think at this point we'll probably stop PD dumping and switch back to recruiting, assuming we don't just lose. We'll hopefully be able to take this on. We'll see. So yeah, that covers the main bits. There's some additional vulturing. This is the vulturing that we saw, and this immediately cracked. There's probably nothing in this fort. Certainly not enough to stand up to 80 sacreds. And then, yeah, Calum vultured these two provinces, which is unfortunate. I was thinking it had more time because he had a nap with Hinnom, but it sounds like Hinnom released Calum from their nap, which is normal. It's like from Hinnom's perspective, he would rather Calum have these lands than me because I am attacking him and taking him out of the game. So yeah, thought I had more time to grab these. Definitely knew that, slow in terms of rating them, just pretty limited resources. So, if we weren't in the 2v1, definitely would have locked these down sooner. This is not the friendliest move from Calum. Like, nobody appreciates vultures. It's normal, I've done it before. Everybody does it. It makes sense. But, watching, it just picks these up for free. We also have a nap, so there's really not a lot I can do about this diplomatically, unless I want to, poison the well and just attack in and break naps. So pretty much stuck with this state of affairs. It's going to hurt, if we take Hinnom, we will not be drawing resources off of these provinces, which is definitely a big deal for Mekone. We're pretty resource dependent. We should have, assuming we can pick this up, we should have, a decent number of connections, some of which, I don't know, these are highlands, but not a whole lot of resources here. I don't know what's up. But, some resources, certainly, right? Like this is a highland, this is a highland, this is a forest. Those are all, more, good resources, it says, for that forest. And then, it says high resources for highlands. So that's good. And then this is just a plains, I think, so kind of incidental for the resources, but we'll hopefully have enough. We certainly would have had more because this is another highlands and this is a forest. This is also annoying too because, now we can't easily get up into our, northern territory here. We have to loop potentially all the way around down through this mountain pass here. It's not whatever, this path through the mountains, technically not a mountain pass. We might be able to get through here, if we get our Heat Dominion in. So not the end of the world, but yeah, not great. We're looking at like what? We're going to pick up, say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 provinces from our war with Hinnom, which is not ideal. One of those should be a capital. So that's big. That's big. You get a lot of gem income. Hinnom actually looks like they have more than normal. Well, yeah, little. I guess it works out because I think usually people say that it's like 2 blood slaves is like roughly equivalent to 1 gem, I think. And most early age capitals net use, so we got 6 gems total. So we got 2 there, right? And we've got 4 here. So yeah, we got 6 gems, whereas Hinnom is looking at 5 gems, but then 2 blood slaves a turn. So 7 gem, whatever, 7 magical dealies per turn. So that's kind of interesting. And we actually in a position to take advantage somewhat with our pretender who has blood on her of like that blood slave income. So that's kind of cool. So anyway, picking up a capital, is a huge jump in terms of income and of gold income and of, magical resource income. So only 6 provinces, not great. But if one of those is a capital, wouldn't say that this war has worked out. Simply, because, we've been losing, like, this is gems every turn that we haven't been getting more gem. Well, okay, this is a silver mine, and this is just graphs. But there's a lot of income here anyway, right? Like, this sort of counterbalances the gains that we've gotten, and the gains are looking kind of paltry. And that's, just the disadvantage of the 2v1, which was a mistake. And I knew going in it could be, but just kind of wanted to try it out and do something different, keep it interesting. Probably wouldn't repeat it in the future. Would have, backed out diplomatically with Hinnom and then just focused on taking Ulm out. But, you play and you learn. And then we are trying to do a little more raiding. We're going to take this, you can't really even call them a squad. I don't know. They have some Bone Tribe. And, they're going to go in and hopefully he hasn't PD dumped here. We'll see. Because, this is the Lizard Province, and I really do want it, and Marverni hasn't moved back into it, so screw it, let's go. And, alright, don't want to lose an Air 1 mage, but, we do get air access, right? We have a little bit of air, we have some air here, Air 1 and Air 1. I think we get up to Air 2 with some of our guys, so losing a solitary Air 1 mage is fine. And the priest and the Bone Tribe are, kind of incidental. So if they can get us a Lizard Province, that is well worth. So, and then research, right. Same. This is not going anywhere. So, decent turn overall, right? Breached this, that's good. Hinnom's last force was taken care of. And then, we're kind of just waiting for this to come in. And hopefully we can hold. So, that covers turn 20.